It's the FACEIT Miners, my friends. We have some of the best contenders from across the CIS region battling it out today, yesterday, and going forwards to see who can qualify for the major in September. Joined by some of the best talent in the game, but most importantly, a juicy, handsome, talented, wise, and friendly watermelon.
Oh, I was about to say, how would you measure one's juiciness, but he saved it.
Lift him up for it. That's Gordon. If you haven't met him already,
it's pretty heavy.
He's been joining us on the desk and telling us how to be better people, to show the world that there is bright light at the end of the tunnel.
So what did Gordon teach you, Pala?
That the juice is sometimes better left unsaid. So, everybody, don't forget to get involved in the conversation. Hashtag FACEITMiner across all of social media.
And
Twitter,
what a conversation.
Instagram, and Facebook. We also post a bunch of random different content and fun stuff too. Also, as I'm sure you are aware, we are live on different platforms, but be sure to check us out on gaming.youtube.com, where if you are signed up, linked with your FACEIT account, you have the chance to receive some wonderful loot, drops, prizes, FACEIT points. James?
Just FACEIT points.
Yes, but I mean, those words can roughly refer to the points.
Which you can redeem for prizes. FACEIT points, which you can use on the FACEIT store to get FACEIT items from FACEIT.
And you always say Bisons and Negevs.
I like a good Bison.
Why can't...
Battle-scarred Bison. I have a Bison signed by Get Right.
Oh. Like,
nice
actually...
That makes you very cool, James.
Yeah, I'm a cool dude, man.
Yeah, I remember seeing your inventory at one point, and I rather liked it. But let's not talk about inventories right now and those little sprinklings of CS lore. Let's take a look at where we are in the tournament right now. See if we can bring that bracket up and inform all you viewers at home of what has transpired so far and what we are about to see. A Vanguard surprisingly lost to forZe. Team Spirit overcame the Monoliths, or the Monolith. Can you have plural? You can't have plural monoliths.
I think so.
I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. It's like fish and fishes, right? Sometimes it depends on the species.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, forZe Esports will go up against Team Spirit, and that'll be the final best one we're about to see now. And a Vanguard and Monolith will play shortly after, and that's a best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good matchup. I think we're going to see now two teams that showed that they can play Counter-Strike. So I think we have, for the first time today, a very competitive game.
Are we doing the winners one first?
Are we doing the winners? Yeah, we're going to do the best one first, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, best one. Okay.
Almost certain.
Yeah, that should be curious. I think this is a great path for Spirit to slide in.
3 lines on the shirt.
Please don't.
I thought me and James were going to like break into song there, and
I can't do it.
No.
I can't do it. But what I do want to mention for those of you at home is that the plural of fish is fish. But if it's different types of species, if it's different species of fish, then it's fishes, okay? So sometimes it works in that specific scenario, just to go back to an earlier conversation. But yes, this should be a good game of Counter-Strike. And this should be a good game of Counter-Strike. I think this is a great opportunity for Team Spirit, honestly. I think this is theirs to win. Indeed.
Spirit had a very, very dominant showing in that first map. When they took out Monolith, they got 13 T rounds. The overall score was 16-2. And so if you're imagining that they might continue with that same fire, this could be quite a good performance from them as well. Would you say overall that they looked stronger than forZe?
I mean, not necessarily. It came off a cheap background playing against Monolith, so I'm not too sure what to put them yet. We'll say, though, that Spirit obviously have a great game, but when you look towards forZe, they were able to beat Avanga, who is probably, before we went into this group, you know, the favorite of coming out first. So that's a little bit of a surprise, right? They're not having to see them going out at the first place. So even if they produce or proceed into the playoff bracket, they will face Hellraisers in the first best of 3 championship bracket game. So already now, Avanga have you know, not lived up to the expectations we had for them. So on that note, I think forZe should be fairly confident as well going into this one.
Looking at the head-to-head, Spirit have won the last 5 out of 6 matchups, including the 2 in the close qualifier against this team. So it would be a surprise if forZe were to win this one, forZe, I suppose. But I mean,
is it? Should we decide, guys? forZe, forZe,
forZe.
Oh, you're going with that very Italiano.
forZe. So it's kind of like a
representing for Alessandro Sturmy.
Yeah, doing my best.
Shout out to him.
forZe. I want to go with that.
forZe.
That's not what I said at all.
No, that's what you said, James.
forZe.
forZe.
Okay, Parla. See Jerry in the middle there.
Anyway, forZe on screen now. Almaza, face crack. Don't recommend doing that. Jerry, the final two players were. I need to get them up. I've slightly missed them there. Jerry and Malik and XC Power. In that first matchup that we saw from them, it was face crack that came on top.
I don't know what's going on right now.
Pimp, what were you impressed by when it came to face crack on the server?
I mean, he cracked it up, basically. In all seriousness, it seemed like all the players chimed in. Get your S together. I mean, all players chimed in, and all players had a great game, so not necessarily only face crack who
I've never had giggles on a desk like this before. Like, I'm losing it, James. I'm losing it.
It happens. It happens.
It's too far gone already, I think.
Anyway, back to this face crack.
We just wanted to say face crack again, didn't you?
No, he was talking about face crack.
I mean, like, we don't have to talk about face crack in himself. We have to talk about his team in general. I think they did a good job at all chiming in. You know, all players had above 15 frags, and all players had a decent ADR as well. So
yeah,
it's a team that's here to play as a T and not necessarily here to play only as face crack.
Yeah, let's focus in now on Team Spirit. Clearly, their T side was very strong on Dust 2. This is a best of 3, however, and so they might end up on maps that are more CT-sided. Oh, still best of 1. James, I've just flipped the script, mate.
Got too many fingers in the watermelon, mate.
That old chestnut.
I think that Team Spirit are playing a high level of Counter-Strike, and forZe are still on their way up. But again, maybe this is the time where forZe overcome now and get a surprise win on the board. You never know when it's going to happen. But again, the recent head-to-heads, including the close qualifier, have been good. But when it matters, when it comes down to LAN, will Spirit be able to have the same performance versus the familiar opponents?
That's the question. When you look at the players, though, like, it is experienced players. All these names, it's names you've seen before. Some Young, we talked about him in the pre-game of the other game as well. He's a guy who's plays in FPL and is a fairly known force within Europe. So overall, Spirit, you know, should be going into the run feeling fairly confident. They have the experience, they have the players, and forZe is still a sort of unknown quantity in that sense.
Definitely. Team Spirit there. Coley, Davkos, Dima, Softic, and Some Young. Some Young was the one that we'd heard some good stuff about, and he seemed to be okay on that first map, but it's kind of easy for everybody to shine when your entire team is dominating the competition, right, Pimp? Sometimes it's dangerous to start a competition off and win out that strongly.
I mean, it's dangerous in the sense that they haven't been tested yet, so the first time they probably will get tested by forZe. We'll have to see whatever they're able to resist that. I do think, as James said, Spirit should be the favorites going into this one. They have won their internal matchups as well, so it would be surprising if they would be feared by that resistance that is coming out of FACEIT.
Excuse me?
What?
FACEIT, all right.
The veto will be interesting,
yes,
because these guys have traded maps on Overpass, but beyond that, Spirit have essentially won every other map. So where do they really go? I mean, if you've lost one map against this team, do you veto your auto ban and then veto Overpass and then just play whatever? I think forZe might be in trouble in that regard. Yes,
the veto is coming up now, so we can exactly find out where we are going to end up playing some Counter-Strike. We've got forZe on screen now, and we'll see that they ban out Dust 2 to start off. Smart, considering that was the map Spirit seemed to excel on against Monolith. And then we've got an Inferno ban.
I just want to see if Overpass is banned next by Spirit, or if they'll let it through. Because, I mean, if that's the only map you've lost against them, although they did win one as well, but
Dust 2 in the making as well. I mean, if they're not afraid of playing Dust 2 after what they saw in the first map, then may suggest, you know, they know a little bit more about it, and again, you know, not take that victory too serious against Monolith.
Okay, so it's going to be...
I'm not sure if they've played Dust 2 against each other Yeah, so they may go for familiar territory instead.
Mirage, yeah, it was going to be Mirage or Overpass, and they've gone for the more even map of the two. So
yeah, so they have beaten them on Mirage, and again they've won on Overpass and lost on Overpass. So it seems like a no-brainer once they get down to the end for me.
Yeah. And this will be the first time we've seen Mirage today, which is nice. We saw it a couple times yesterday over the course of the day. Who do you think that this will favour, guys? More so one team than the other, or do you think it'll be relatively even?
I think in terms of the map, Mirage is an even map. You know, it's a map that all the teams play to a fairly high level. So if a team is decent, then they'll also be decent at Mirage most of the times. Again, if you look at the lineups, if you look at the players, I do have to favor Spirit in this one.
Okay.
Davcost as well is a great player, you know, and is finally finding his footing and his home within the CIS region instead of playing with an unmotivated flip side. He's now with a team that wants to be good, basically. So I think that's good for him, and I think they're here to win it.
Pimp's official prediction is Team Spirit. James, yours?
forZe lost to Spirit 3-16 last time they played on Mirage, so my choice would be Spirit.
All right, guys, I'm going to back you up, giving a third vote to Team Spirit. Harry and Vince, who's your money on?
Well, I'm going to have to agree. I think this is going to be a Team Spirit game. Of course, we just saw them wreck Monolith back on at Dust 2. That's enough talking about Nickelback. Let's talk about Nirvana, because right now it smells like Team Spirit in the server. What way do you see this one going, Vince? forZe or Team Spirit for you?
Yeah, Spirit. I've got to agree with everyone else. I think you look at the stats, it's looking great. Their previous performance against Monolith, although they were a bit rough, looks really good. The caliber of players is really solid, especially for the region. And I think, yeah, I'm going with Spirit as well. I'd be very surprised if they don't get the win. But I will say that forZe, they had some very surprising players. XE-Power in particular with the AWP. I think he could go toe-to-toe with Davcost, so that could be a pretty interesting, intriguing battle.
That's quite the prediction to make, the unknown factor of XE-Power. And I mean, even then, the three unknowns within forZe is going to be interesting. That's, of course, Almaze and Malik, and XE-Power. Not really having the most in-depth of history, sort of cropping up, all of them around the 2016-2017 year. And having a good showing right now, I think, within this forZe roster. Of course, complementing the likes, the more seasoned veterans of Jerry and FaceCrack, formerly from Team Spartak, nicely. But this game, this is already underway. Team Spirit over on the T side, stacking up outside the A bomb site. 3 players in Palace, 2 on the ramp, throwing down that wall of smokes over towards jungle and stairs, leaving CT open, and that might just be their demise.
It certainly could, but Malik is not going to get contested, and Ninja finally gets spotted and will be put down. And, well, Spirit just round the corner, some die young, putting multiple players into the bin for the round. And now it's all on Alzama, or Almazer, I should say. Had a pretty okay performance in the last matchup. Wasn't really required too often, and now with 6 health, living on borrowed time, and Coldy will put him out of his misery. Spirit keeping on track from where they left off. I suppose one thing you could say is that Spirit, they've just come off the back of a victory. It wasn't too much in terms of mentally fatiguing. It was a 16-2, so they're going to be warmed up coming straight into this Mirage performance, you'd have to feel.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to leave you coming into this with a bit of a feel-good factor. Essentially, Dust was like a nice little DM sesh. That's what it probably felt like, and now you get into the real meat and potatoes of this dish. And yeah, over here in mid, they're going to look to try and make their way out. Now, there's 3 Deeks, 2 5.7s in play for forZe, but these upgraded pistols are no laughing matter. Let me tell you that. We've had a ludicrously high percentage of these force buys working out. I don't know the exact statistic. I'm going to work on crunching the numbers for the best of 3s, so I'll try and get it. Like, what sort of a promise is that? What have I done? But through connector, Sophic, the Mac Daddy, looking to try and make some money.
I feel like the scientific term would be a crap ton of force by victories. Sophic is going to be found by FaceCracks. That's at least a Mac 10 will be trading hands if they want to get themselves that down in connector. But the first kill has gone their way. That's going to alleviate some of the pressure. And now the rest of the terrorists decide, okay, well, B site is where we would like to reside and put our bomb down. Going to have to deal with Malik and Almazer on the way there, and already a Deeg has landed. Not like this. Davcost comes back with one of his own, and Dima is trying to salvage this round and put it back into the terrorist's hands. But FaceCrack with his 5.7 continues to land headshots. He's picked up another 2. A 3K for the round, and now Jerry against Davkost to see who wins round 2, and it's going to be going to Team Spirit, but so very close. And a lot of damage was done, so plenty of weapons have to be replenished now.
Thank the Lord. Team Spirit, I knew I could rely on them. You know, they teased us. They almost stayed true to the 4 wins for forZe. But no, they respected the laws of Counter-Strike. They respected the rules, the set-in-stone storyline of how that should go, and they convert the second round. Now for forZe, a little bit of investment here. They made some extra money by finding frags on a few of these players, and that's given them a tiny bit more to work with. FaceCrack has himself a Deagle, along with Malik and Almeza. Picking up a PT-50. Other than that, it's just the vanilla pistols. A chance now for these SMGs to make some money. Team Spirit, if they keep all 5 alive here, definitely going to be in that sort of bonus round scenario with the 1 rifle up on Coldy, the rest of the guys on the SMGs. And yeah, I think you're really going to be looking to keep 5 alive in this round. You only have 1 man surviving in the previous. That, of course, was Davkost. You don't want to be letting this round go close as well, especially, you know, when you look at the buy that they're up against.
Definitely, especially as forZe in the next round probably don't have full head armors. They're going to mitigate some of those for extra grenades. So this is where the MAC-10s and the UMPs really do shine. But Sotvik has been winged by Malik and will be put to rest by the Desert Eagle. 45 seconds left coming up on the clock. It looks like it's going to be another B hit. And forZe with a Deke and a P250 going to try and hold the line. Just 2 players over here. Malik in close proximity. Molotovs and smokes being deployed, and again it's the 1 Deke cutting off the head of Dima. Davkost does answer back in kind, as does Sumdai Young. And this should be the bomb going down in the next few moments. The 2 remaining CTs were over on A. I think they were stacking behind triple box to try and catch the Ts off guard, but they're going to have to come back into the site and see what they can get done. You don't really want to save a MAC-10. Like, they'd much rather have assault rifles. They don't have any Kevlar to save, so you may as well go in and see if you can take some of these weapons away from Spirit on the exit frags. If you could convert one of these weapons to an AK-47, all the better for it. UMP wouldn't be terrible. So I can understand why they're not going for the retake necessarily, but they're actually just poised outside looking for kills.
Yeah, hoping they can find a few of these players on the exits, and they would love to. If the MAC-10 it could find a kill here and there, then that's money made, but Davkost able to save his teammate's life. Now, I love Sotvik, the player, but his name is like the ultimate bait name. It's so close to something else that you really wouldn't want to say while you're casting. It's yeah, there's a few of them out there. I mean, to be fair, if I was a pro player, I would make my name just the most baitiest thing ever. Like we have, you know, there was that guy Fuchs, who is how I'm going to pronounce it. Yeah, the French guy. Oh, I almost said it. Sotvik. Yeah, it's so. Now that it's in my head,
in your own head,
I know.
You've just wrecked yourself.
I want it to get in your head as well, man.
You've
I really want
yourself,
an iconic 1v4 from Sotvik to be casted by you, Vince. You know, but instead you usher the terrifying words that just mean you know, flaccid man region. And here's Almeza making a stand. He's certainly feeling hard about this as he finds himself 1 inside of the bomb site. Malik gonna find 1 more. It's Davkost left in a 1v3. Malik's making this almost look too easy for forZe in their first buy round.
Super important too to get their winning ways in the rifle rounds. After they played on Inferno earlier, we know that they have it within them to stand and battle and be victorious. So FAMAS M4 up, AK dropped, and another M4 for FaceCrack. Whereas for Team Spirit, because that second round where they lost 4 players, it's now going to catch up with them. It's a scout and it's pistols. Typically, in the 4th or 5th round situation, after you've lost in rifle, the terrorists just bounce back with AKs and Galils. But they're ruined right now.
Yeah, they most certainly are, and that's courtesy of how strong these force buyers have been, as you say. So for Team Spirit, they don't really have anything to work with. Coldy, how's he managed to get there? Will finally be put down. And it's Sumdai Young and Sotvik left 2v5. Sotvik going to be dealt with, and that is Sumdai Young 1v4. Scouting had armor, and the bomb on his back. Going to tag down Almeza, but this is not the situation you want to be in. Pre-fire finds him as he just homes down the angle. It's going to be a second round for forZe, but now the buy comes back in for Team Spirit.
A flawless one at that, so it's going to do very well for their economy. Can get full grenades, no one skimping out. Kind of curious what the 9N stands for at the end of Davkost's name. Maybe I'm just an uncultured scrub. I have no idea what that could be alluding to. But he's got an AWP anyway, so we'll have to see if he can continue to apply the pressure. He's 7-3, so he's had a decent game so far. But he's going to be coming up against FACEIT, who's 4-3 himself. And I think this could be a really juicy, tantalizing encounter. Davkost going to miss that shot, though. FaceCrack really should be landing that. That was a free frag.
That one certainly was, and now they're going to be kicking themselves that they didn't find the early man advantage on the back of that early blunder. FaceCrack still waiting around by the window. Jerry 256 over here towards the ramp. Big fan of random numbers, mate. And he's about to have Sumdai Young and Davkost come his way. Takes the fight down here in mid, and this is where you have Demon nearby to help out. They don't need to utilize him in the end, and now they're up through connector. It's going to be the A-side split, and now it falls to Jerry and Malik to hold back Team Spirit.
Yeah, both in pretty close-knit angles, so if you start to see that Molotov from Sumdai Young tossed into the right angle, could get a bit sketchy for them, and now it's known that Malik was last seen in shadow, but he's doing so much work. Taking down the frag onto multiple terrorists. 30 seconds left. Davkost's going to get the plant. Grenade comes over. It's an incendiary, actually, but it's not going to touch him at all. So he's going to get away scot-free. No problems. Now, relocating into separate angles for a crossfire. Coldy on CT boxes. Davkost Tetris. Almeiza's going to have to make a move. He's been spotted. The call will come through, but the flashbang has connected. And now Coldy's position is known. Almeiza has to try and make a move for it. Goes for the defuse to try and draw out Coldy. Coldy with the insta headshot will give Team Spirit a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, but thanks to keeping 5 players alive in that rifle round that they were able to grab early, FACEIT's going to have the cash to invest here. AWP up for FACEIT. The rest of the guys with M4s. Diffuse kit going to be over on FaceCrack. Sotfik going to take the fight over here in mid, but FACEIT going aggressive. Going to spot that no one resides over here in middle, and that is a strong foothold to have. Davkost doubles back round, and he's going to come to regret that as he gets removed. And now Almeiza spots out the push about to come through into this B-bomb site. He has to hold his own, he has to bide time, and he's done all that and more with a quick double kill. Almeiza still alive, still causing havoc. A third for him, and it's Sumdai Young. Not living up to his name just yet. Finally going to be dealt with, and FACEIT, quick and concise third round stolen back from Team Spirit. And with that, the reset going to come through as well. So Team Spirit looking like they're an all-time low. There's another band joke thrown in for you. See how many of them we can do.
That was an excellent hold, courtesy of Almeiza. Without his 3K, that round could have gone a very different way. Smoking himself off, relocating to the back of the site just in front of bench and mowing down players with his M4. Solid work, but now Team Spirit have to come back in with CZ's Deagle MP7. Really tailor-made for the long-range encounters and skirmishes, so they're going to get up close. But FACEIT delivering the AWP shot onto Sotfik is going to put this to rest pretty much instantly, and the rest should just be a case of a formality. Team Spirit have Coldy in window. Maybe he can cause some issues and be a real nuisance, but other than that, it is looking like we're heading towards a 4-4 scoreline.
Yeah, most certainly. Davkost is a man of many talents, but sadly, spin botting, not one of them. And I feel like that's the only way that he wins this round. Even then, it's tenuous at best. He's going to get finished off by Jerry, a man whose very name instills fear in the enemy ranks. 4-4, all tied up. And pause called on in. Team Spirit going to be grabbing themselves a tactical timeout. And I think justifiably so. You win the pistol, but since then they've only managed a singular rifle round versus FACEIT. As James and the gang broke down over on the desk, the last time these guys met over on Mirage, I think it was a 16-4 victory in favor of Team Spirit. So already FACEIT reaching the same number of rounds they got in an entire game last time these two teams played. Showing clear signs of improvement, I would say, over on this FACEIT roster.
Yeah, that's the thing about defeat. It does make a lot more sense for the defending team to go back and watch that demo and be like, okay, guys, where did we go wrong? We got battered here. Let's really iron over the cracks. Let's really make sure that we have a solid defense, solid attack to go with. So, yes, on the one hand, Spirit will have the confidence, but on the other, forZe, if they've gone in for the demo watching and they've really gone over their issues, then it should be a very different result. And we're seeing here, I was obviously just talking over the eco bash, as Spirit really had nothing invested into that. The tactical timeout's all about this round now. So yeah, I mean, forZe already showing great signs of improvement. They looked solid in their previous matchup. Additionally, upset win against the Vanga 16-8 on Inferno. So we'll have to see if they can go from strength to strength.
Yeah, I mean, a win here is massive as well. I mean, let's not forget, you know, you essentially then through into the next stage of this CIS mine. They're going to be joining the likes of Hellraisers and Prosto, I believe, are the other two teams that are currently at that juncture. And this round, once again, another very convincing start here for forZe. A 5v3 early on, courtesy of FACEIT and Malik. These two been showing up in spades. Jerry now from CT, been spotted. They know that he's there, but they don't really have much to deal with him. Smoke going to go down to try and nullify this position, but this leaves the cross open. That's a separate problem altogether. Jerry, from atop his ticket tower, will be shunned away at the gates. Doesn't have the right ticket to ride. And Dima continuing on the entries. Coldy going to chime in with one more. Now leaves Malik and Almazer left to try and hold this back, but Malik has looked so good so far for forZe. Still with more to give. Almazer comes rotating around. It's a 2v2, and that bomb about to go down. Almazer's in a position to deny it. They have no clue he's there, but Coldy's read it well. So Team Spirit going to answer straight back with a 5th round.
I tell you what, Spirit are very fortunate in that round because Dima ended up getting 2 frags. He only had 1 kill coming into that round, but he got 2 frags, and it was all based off him surviving. Those 2 Molotovs landed on Tetris, a tiny gap in between them, which is where he was stood, and he had about 60 health left. If either of those spreads, there's a flashbang on top of him, he dies, he doesn't get the 2 entries. That round would have been an entirely different affair. So a bit fortunate in the end, but solid work by Spirit. Tactical timeout called again for forZe this time.
And I like this. I mean, this is, you know, throughout the whole minor thus far for the CIS region, I feel like the most tactical pauses we've seen in a game is 1. I can't think of a game where we've seen 2 come in, and already in the first 11 rounds, both these teams taking tactical pauses. It's been a very, very close game. It's a technical. Never mind. So that's all good. I was going to say, I kind of like that if it was a tactical in the sense that you have one little problem and then you instantly go in with a tactical pause, have some time to mull it over. But it's technical pause, so that doesn't matter. Regardless, you see the change that it made for Team Spirit. They take their tactical in that previous round. They switch things up, and although a lot of that round comes off the back of Dima on the entry, they still looked like they had a much more clear game plan heading into it. So now this buy coming through for forZe. Orp going to be out for FACEIT. He's looked good thus far, but the shining star for forZe has been Malik. He's top of the board, and he hasn't really been someone we've had to talk about all that much just yet.
Yeah, he's kind of been going under the radar a little bit, but he's typically been an A player. He's been getting a lot of frags on A. This round he's going to be pushing up mid into underpass, I believe that is. So we'll have to see if he can do anything, or he's actually just lurking in underpass right now. I'm not going to be pushing it just yet. He's going to see action soon as Sumdai Young takes a bunch of damage from him. Dima's going to drop in just below him. With a smoke on window, he was afforded that opportunity. So although Sumdai Young was battered, that has gone horribly wrong for the CTs. And they're going to be struggling somewhat, especially as Malik has been their star player thus far. Coldy straight out for a double. Beautiful entry work onto FACEIT and Jerry. And the rest of the dominoes should fall into place. FaceCrack was one of their main men in the previous matchup for forZe on Inferno. I think he dropped mid-20s on that one. 17 frags after the first half. But this is a tall order for him, and he's going to save the AWP instead. So it will be Team Spirit taking the lead. Finally getting some rifle rounds going their way, Harry. That's going to do good work for their confidence going forward.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, as you know, Coldy leading the way right now. Davcost as well. They're going to have, at least they've had money for him to get onto the AWP, and winning this round, they're looking to try and build up a bit more of a bank. There are only 3 players surviving, nothing really to write home about there, and the AWP being carried forward for forwards. If they get away with it, which it looks like they're going to be able to buy up in the next round, no problem. But both teams going to have a reset looming overhead. So this next round has that much more weighting around it. Effectively, but going to be a 2-for-1. So Team Spirit back in the lead. It's been a very, very back and forth game early on. And as we approach the latter stages of this first half, one of these teams has to now look to try and break ahead of the pack. We're starting to see a recovery from the likes of Dima, who struggled early on. I think up until a few rounds ago, as you say, only had 1 kill. Now he's going to be sitting on 4. So slowly but surely making his way back up the board.
Yeah, he was 1 and 9 at one stage. So he's seemingly shifting through the gears. I'm going to hope that continues. forZe with 2 AWPs in play. Heavy investment. And a fast A hit could be the remedy. But the push was a little bit premature before the smokes got a chance to bloom. That will cost at least Dima his life. Sumdai Young, in the meanwhile, goes back onto Malik. Again, he has been the key man, but he's had no impact in the last couple of rounds. Coldy finds himself XE power, and the bomb will get planted in amongst the chaos. Now that the smokes are starting to clear, there is a gateway back in for forZe to try and get a retake in effect, but Jerry needs to be very careful. His days may be numbered. Sumdai Young, he's in close proximity. Elsewhere, though, the pressure is being alleviated courtesy of FaceCrack. Sumdai Young with 2 to add to his previous frag, on for a 3K. And again, FaceCrack, deja vu. He's like, nah, I'm out. Let me just get that AWP and run away with my tail tucked between my legs.
Yeah, he's might not even get away with that. Davkost has come hunting, and Davkost going to find him. The Bloodhound for Team Spirit locks in a 7th round there, and also removes the AWP from play. As said, this was a 2-for-1 effectively, so Team Spirit going to be going up against an echoing forZe force. Very good round there from Sumdai Young, who's starting to progress up the scoreboard as well, joining Davkost and Coldy now within the upper echelons of it. And while the upgraded pistols have been good, usually we've had to see them have some armor, a little bit to work with around them. Shouldn't be expecting too much from this buy, but if history repeats itself, then maybe I'll be made to eat my words. 4 players over here on short. It's definitely an interesting place to stack. And they're going to have their fair share of targets to tango with as Team Spirit look to take mid. They walk into the waiting gun of Dima. And something just going to mop up the remaining players. Malik 1v5.
Yeah, some wild spray put down range, does 2 kills. And Coldy will mop up the rest. So really not too much to talk about in that round. It was an eco and a bash from Spirit. They've now picked up 4 rounds in a row, though, so the momentum certainly behind them. There was that very dodgy period of 6 rounds in between where after they won the pistol and a subsequent 3-0 lead, they lost 5 out of 6 rounds, but they have certainly turned their fortunes back in their favor. However, it's going to be another double AWP setup for forZe, who really do love to bite down on this composition. We see them go for it time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, Almay's, I'm still not really sold on the double AWP, but let's see. I'd love for them to prove me wrong. Malik's already going to come rotating round. We're relying on the AWP of XE power to hold back this initial push. Dima, the first to hit the deck. Now they pull away from CT. Even Jerry tucked away. These smokes going to start to fade. You look at Team Spirit, they've got 2 Molotovs. That's all they've got to try and clear some of these angles. Man advantage in favor of forZe, and they're forced to make a move. Sumdai Young down here on the stairs. Back to back with FaceCrack, nothing but a small bit of wooden board to separate them. He's gone clearing top mid, and as the smoke has cleared on this A-bomb site, the confusion, the bullets, everything stopped. Team Spirit has slowed right down, but it's FaceCrack, a man to keep an eye on.
He's getting so much information for his team. They now know they're still on A. There's no doubt anymore they've backed away to the B site. So he can move around. This is where you're expecting to see Almeza move off of B, unless they think that there's some players have edged through just in time. But now with 9 players left, we are going to have a bomb planted with Davkost coming in and taking Almeza out the equation.
I'm not sure they're ready, though, for this young man over on the ramp. FaceCrack leading the charge in. That might not matter. Davkost certainly is. He's suddenly looked to step up in this round. FaceCrack's going to manage 1, but Now they have his name and number. It's Coldy up in the palace looking to crown himself the prince of this round. FACEIT going to chime in with one more, and FACEIT left in a 1v2. Taps on that bomb to force these players out of the open. Won't be able to find anything on the back of it, and this round is all said and done. Team Spirit, a 9th round, and FACEIT can't get away with the AWP in time. Now the money has ran out for forZe in the last round of the half.
Very surprising, considering we had the face crack rotation, and as you correctly highlighted, they used a lot of their smokes, and there was actually a gaping hole in one of the smokes on CT that really needs to be sorted out, because FACEIT got a free kill. They didn't know that there was a gap in the smoke. He fragged out just behind default next to Shadow, and with the rotation, you thought, okay, well, this is it. Face crack comes around the side, they stack A site, this should be pretty easy. And now, in a very low buy, going to have to play aggressive up mid, but Davkost and FACEIT, they were a step ahead. They'd read the script a few pages ahead of forZe, and now that puts them into a player disadvantage with 1 minute and 30 left. And with low utility, lack of firepower, forZe maybe felt like they had to go into some kind of aggressive play. It just completely backfires.
But this is interesting. FACEIT, he's gone aggressive. He found himself over here in Palace, looking to try and dethrone Team Spirit in this round. Timing just not there for him. He just falls off the angle as Coldy's about to go pushing into his crosshair. Although Team Spirit do seem very worried that someone might have headed over here towards Palace, towards ramp. They know they haven't had players here to maintain map control early on. And Coldy's going to be very cautious, clears the angle, and just jiggle peeks in for FACEIT. Gets the information there's a man up in Palace, and it's that smoke on ramp. By the time that clears, they're going to be left with about 20 seconds, 25 seconds on the clock, thereabouts. Team Spirit are going to be hard-pressed for time when it comes to executing in towards A.
I think at this point they're running off the idea that the CT only saw one terrorist. So for all they know, this is actually a ruse. It's a fake, and they're going B. And you can see that the Jerry defender from A moved across into kitchen, giving up A control now that his teammate died over here. So that fake has been very successful. Jerry, in the meanwhile, is going to get caught from the backside, taking a lot of damage, but will return fire. 5 health, all that separates him and death. But that could be enough for forZe. They don't have much in terms of utility. Just a flashbang alongside the kit for Almeza, who is healthy, but just a CZ. So Team Spirit, 99 out of 100 times this round is theirs, and it's looking like it will go towards those odds. Jerry in his aforementioned 5 does at least have an AK-47, but Team Spirit will pick up a 10-5 lead at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, if you kind of think about it, there was a time where this was a 5-1 scoreline in the rifle rounds. Admittedly, then it was 5-4, but I mean, forZe were looking very, very good early on. In those initial 8 rounds, I thought forZe were going to just kind of start to wipe the floor with Team Spirit a bit. It seemed like they were outclassing them at every turn, and then there was that one tactical pause called on in from Team Spirit. That one round where Dima finds that quick double as a result of staying alive in the Molotovs, and since then, everything went the way of Team Spirit. 6 rounds in a row currently, 6 consecutive rounds without losing anything. Can they keep that going now as we've switched sides? It's going to be FACEIT, the newest player inside of this roster, about to be tested over here at B. So many heads coming his way. Oh, this flash might arrive a little bit late, but FACEIT is tapping them down, manages himself too. Sopvik going to leave the bomb site. So the bomb can go down at the very least. Dima over on short that looks to try and cause him some problems. Oh my goodness. The Jerry on top of the cake manages himself 3, and Davkost suddenly left to try and clutch this out, but Jerry 1 HP with the ace. Oh my goodness, what a way for forZe to find the pistol round. You better believe he's smiling.
FACEIT's like, bro, I did so much for you in the apps. How is that possible? These 2 kills in particular, the 2 or 3 frags that he gets from entrance of kitchen are nuts. Stacking up the CTs were, and they got laid out. Hell of a pistol round, and now forZe, they're back in this game. They lose a second pistol, they've already 1 foot out of this map. Now it's game on. And what an incredible gut punch that's going to be for Team Spirit, who already thought, okay, this pistol's ours now.
And this could be the way back in for forZe, in all honesty, right? I mean, you've broken the Team Spirit of Team Spirit. that was their pistol round to throw away. It was, you know, a 4v2, I think, or yeah, along those lines. And it all comes on the back of those couple of players that go rushing in from market, as you correctly highlighted. Now, the force buyers come in here for Team Spirit, and these have been very, very proficient to date. I think if anyone was going to throw this into disarray, it would be Team Spirit on the force buy, but let's wait and see.
XE Power does spot a pixel of Sophic shoulder, and that should be all she wrote for this round. They've burst through connector. It's going to be on Dima with his 5-7. Won't be happening for him. And Sumdai Young with a CZ. Wouldn't blame him if he went to save this gun, but he's going to go in. There's the first frag. 3 more required. FaceCrack is low, and now he's been finished off, so a bit of damage has been inflicted. But with Sumdai Young down to 10, yeah, this is where the fairy tale, the dream ends. forZe get one step closer to bringing us back into equality. This should be an eco round from Team Spirit. You're expecting an 8-10 scoreline. But again, in the CIS minor, take nothing for granted.
Yeah, that's how that's been the moral thus far. And who knows? You know, I've seen some crazy stuff happen with just vanilla pistols. Let's see. They sent everyone into window early on, realizing that that might not be the smartest move. They've all rotated into the B bomb site. A's been discovered as empty in the meantime. And forZe getting a hunting with the 2 MAC-10 players.
I mean, Spirit can even take this as like a mini pause. You know, you're not expecting to get anything from this round. It's not that important overall. So why not just discuss what you're doing next? Now that the T's have realized that the entirety of the CTs are on B, they can step back and allow them to come into their crosshairs. Shuffle them off their mortal coils, which so far they've been doing. Some serious damage was inflicted to the T's, but no one's going to fall. So a clean sweep. But Spirit are back into rifles and an AWP. The downside, though, is they didn't get any kills there, so it's less money towards their nade funds. I do like that Coldy's dropped down into a FAMAS so that he could afford more utility. I'm curious if Sumdai Young will do the same thing. Nope, he's okay to just run in with the M4. This does, however, mean, though, Harry, they have 0 kits. So if things go wrong, if we have a fast play from the T's, this could get really sticky.
Yeah, it certainly could. They're going to be throwing in the utility in towards his B-bomb site, ready to go. And Sumdai Young up on the van. Flashed away, now going to be relying on Dima to help him out in this short position. forZe have paused, and now they go running on through into the bomb site. Sumdai Young manages the first, going to rejoin up with Dima. Between them, frags coming in, but Dima falls as FaceCrack finds him with the MAC-10. Sumdai Young doing a great job of traversing this site, still alive, his 3rd kill of the round. It's Malik, left in a 1v3, and Wally has toppled too. Now this has been made possible. Coldy all the way down at short. There's a minute left on the clock, and Malik with 22 points of health spots the lone gunman. 2 HP left to his name. Retrieves the AWP, tries to take the fight, but it's Coldy to bid him a good night. Team Spirit hold on, and they find an 11th round. But once again, it's a 1vx scenario for a forZe player that comes right down to the wire.
And to put it in context too, forZe had MAC-10s in that round, they had some SMGs, and they took 4 players away from Spirit who have now reset their round loss bonus. So if they have another poor round here, they lose 3 or 4 players, even if they win, it's going to catch up to them eventually on the CT side. So they have to be so, so careful. A clear round here would be the perfect scenario, but they've already lost their AWPer in mid.
Yeah, any chance of that has already been stripped away from them. Jerry up in the Palace. Finds some damage on a Sophic as well. They want to retrieve that AWP down in mid. But they've only got 1 smoke left on Dima. Luckily enough. Courtesy of the Magic Man FaceCrack over in middle. It's been smoked off. They've been allowed to retrieve it. It's going to be a 4v4, and forZe in full control of mid. All very much in their court wherever they go. They are going to be sporting a significant man advantage in the sense that it's a 2-2 setup split between the 2 bomb sites right now for Team Spirit. And it looks like forZe are going to head back to B.
And Sumdai Young, with a FAMAS and no grenades, is there to meet them. He's going to need some support. He's going to need it quick. So if forZe make no steps on the approach and catch him unawares, this should go the way of the terrorists. It's going to have to be a ridiculous hold for SumDaeYoung to fend off the T's. He's got 1 kill. At least the nades were preceding the push, so Dima's already into kitchen alongside Sotfik with an AWP. But it doesn't bode well for Team Spirit. forZe already in prime position. Now going to start to move the bomb onto the site and get planted on default. There's nothing the CTs can do to stop this. Now they know it definitely is a B hit. They've only got the 1 kit and flash. Is this grounds for a save? Maybe no longer. They could be baited into this, as Sotfik does perforate the wall, getting himself the kill. Now XE Power has to come in, spots the player's shoulder on entrance, but Malik, showing malice from the side, is going to be spraying down with his AK-47, and forZe have broken down Team Spirit. We mentioned how poor their economy was. It's back to being broken.
Yeah, back to broke indeed for Team Spirit. Right now, it's SumDaeYoung leading the charge, the newest addition to this roster. Someone who, you know, before this, I don't think he has any history playing for any other teams. I believe this is his first, you know, time playing in a professional environment. So having a good time of it right now within Team Spirit. Didn't really see him impress too much back on Dust 2 when they played versus Monolith, but obviously that game felt like more of a write-off, right? It was like whoever went and hunted the frags got the frags, was sort of how that worked. And he just never really got the opportunity. He's definitely showcasing his talents here. They're going to need him to continue this strong performance. And it's Sotfik and Dima who have been a little bit disappointing. It looked like Dima maybe was picking up the pace early on, but he's definitely fallen off once again, along with Sotfik. 5 and 6 kills respectively between the two of them. And on the CT side, that's really where you're going to see stats like that start to prove problematic, right? On the T side, you saw SumDaeYoung, Davkos, Coldy. Those were the guys you used to enter into the bomb sites. They found the openers, they created the space. Now on the CT side, you know, I mean, if they're falling early on, they're getting picked, or they're having a retake in you know, 2v4 scenarios, stuff like that, where you're a man down, or you know, even worse than that. It's such a grim scenario to be in. So we're definitely going to need to see a recovery from two long-standing members of this Team Spirit roster.
When you have Sotfik and Dima just aren't really turning up to the race so far, that is 2 weaknesses. That's 2 chinks in the armor that Team Spirit have to worry about now. forZe, everybody is 10 more frags. Everyone's pulling their weight. On the T side, that's really important. You can level down. If your 2 top fraggers die, well, we still have 3 players that can come in and do the business. So things need to turn around really quick. Plus, SumDaeYoung is consistently on B by himself. I realize this is a pistol round, not as important, but we've seen him with FAMASs. We've seen him with lower weaponry there. Doesn't really have anyone to help him out. Should be going down as soon as the first spray not quite landing. A player leaping in midair won't be found. Sotfik, in the meanwhile, does at least add 1 frag to his tally, so he's up to 6. But in terms of this, the 21st round, it is going to be going the way of the terrorists. That much is almost guaranteed. So 1 round in it, surely after this, at a 10-11 score. They did call the tactical timeout. I think that's for the next round again, of course, when they'll have a little bit more to play with. Actually, I say that. They don't have too much to play with here, Harry. They went for a huge investment in this, so this is looking really grim. Yeah,
it definitely is, right? And just to carry that sentiment even further onwards, is they're only at that second round loss bonus. So going to be getting 1,800 at the very end of this, and that's going to see you up with 2,900 on Dav cost, which, you know, that's the most money, or rather 3,000. I just can't do maths apparently. I meant 1,900, not 1,800, but you know, you get what I mean.
Close enough.
Yeah, they're not going to have much money to go with here on the side of Team Spirit. It's most likely just going to be a partial buy down on the guys that can afford it. Dav cost even probably going to elect against that, right? Considering he wants to be saving for the AWP. So yeah, just a USP for him. This is very bare bones, and a chance now for forZe to equalize this out at 11-11. But they might try a fast play all out through Palace. There's 4 players here for Team Spirit. Well, the 5th rotating round, that's Davkost over in jungle, and oh my goodness, the pistols raining in. Somehow the trades are all even, and Sotfik tucked away inside of the bomb site with the CZ. They lose Davkost, and now it's him, a man who has been struggling for Team Spirit, retrieved an AK, takes the fight on a Jerry, wins that first, oh, and the second, pivots back round, and the 180, Sotfik gets it done in the 1v2. Might have been bottom of the board, but now A crucial round from him. He's found a 12 for Team Spirit.
forZe, go home, you drunk. Like, why against pistols would you push 4 players in a close-knit, claustrophobic angle like Palace, where the CZs are king? Why would you do that? They must have known that their economy was poor.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, they should have done, right?
That's madness.
Yeah, I guess the whole idea is, right, you try and just take them off guard. Go for like a really fast play. The likelihood is that you beat the pistols, even if... I just don't think they anticipated a 5-man stack inside of that A bomb site, especially because forZe, they haven't really gone A all too much.
But
you know,
that's kind of the problem, Harry. They can't anticipate it because they rushed. If
yeah.
they send players out
exactly.
to go scouting and have a look, they can find out, okay, this isn't stacked. We push A, we plant, we take it nice and easy. Because they just rush, they don't give themselves any room for error. It's like either we get lucky and they're not stacking, or we get bulldozed. And take nothing away from Sotfik, that was really sick clutch. But the decision making from forZe really does need some serious mulling over.
No, it most certainly does. It leaves you kind of scratching your head. They've been given another shot here, but something else to take away from that. Team Spirit, that was a partial buy at best, right? I mean, if you really want to call it that, they'd invested on like one person. So now in this round, you know, you have a few players with decent cash looking at the future. They could maybe justify going for a buy even if they lose this round. But Dima and Davkost have already opened up with 2 kills between them. That leaves all the pressure on Almeza, Jerry, and Malik to try and see forZe now through a 3v5.
And if Spirit end up converting this map from this point, that was the round that lost forZe this match. 100%, because it should now be 11-11. Spirit should be on the back burner. They should be really sweating this. Instead, they could take a 13-10 lead. They just picked up a secondary AWP from the corpse of one of the Ts. I'm sure that was FACEIT that was holding it. And the round is going to go the way of the CTs as time itself ticks against them. They will save 2 AKs. There's not much that they can add alongside that, though. But with 2 players saving only $50, they may feel like they're forced into a force buy anyway. And we'll be calling a tactical timeout to fully discuss this and figure out what the best course of action is.
Yeah, it's one of these scenarios where the save... I mean, you know, it's like the best case scenario that they could have got because you're only going to get 1,900 anyway. You would have had 1,900 on everyone. So you could have bought up next round now because of those 2 AKs being present. You hit the nail on the head. You're probably going to be tempted to force buy around them because in the next round, right, you can buy on 3. So, I don't know, it's kind of pick your poison, right? Do you want to hope the AKs can get the job done and then have very little to work with alongside them? Or do you want 3 rifles in the next round with Jerry and Malik having to take the eco? It looks like they've gone for the latter option. Looking to just try and maybe play fast over here towards this B bomb site. But the early Incendiary going to do damage onto Malik. And of course thrown in by Sumdai Young, who's been... personally, I think he's been fantastic over here towards this B bomb site. forZe haven't really been able to get by him, or at least not without him managing 2 kills as sort of a minimum. So instead, now they turn their attention over here towards mid. And XC Power, he must have been spotted just then, right, by Sotfik. I don't think he was. Oh, okay, no, yeah, Davkost did see him. Okay, thank the Lord. I was very worried, but that's the easiest kill you'll ever see someone get.
It should be the easiest round you'll ever see a team get now. They've picked apart Jerry and XC Power. There's not too much left on the table, some scraps at most, but they are at least going to push together, congregate and try a B rush. Sumdai Young misses a shot. He does have Dima here, though. He's had a bit of a rough game, but this is his chance to pad them stats. Not quite. Malik, headshot delivered first class, but there's still another 4 players to find on 53 health. Does have a bit of Kev loss. Aim punch not going to be a huge issue for him, but of course, if Sumdai Young lands the AWP shot, it's not going to make a great deal of difference. They have control of the bomb too, the CTs. They peek out, they get the frag. And I completely agree, just to chime in with what you said about Sumdai Young. B site players, especially when playing on your own, can be one of the most depressing positions on Mirage or the entirety of Counter-Strike. Because if it's A hits you're retaking all the time, it's horrible. And if you just get rushed on B and you're alone, chances are you probably get wrecked. Maybe you get 1 kill and that's it. So the fact that he's not only prospering, but he's top fragging as a B solo player is absolutely nuts. Like, seriously, he's done such a good job.
He definitely has, right? And, you know, that coming out of what you say, normally people don't aren't too keen on playing B. Like, it's sort of like the site you get lumbered with. But he's been fantastic here. He's been such a good anchor and also so reliable in the retakes. So hopefully that form continues for Team Spirit throughout the entire of this CIS minor. Speaking of which, they currently stand 2 rounds away from joining the likes of Hellraisers and Prosto and continuing through the process. Jerry leading the charge with this CZ. It's FaceCrack to find the first. Dima goes down as well. And now the bomb still all the way over at ramp. They've secured B, but the bomb is not here. And this is... Oh, no. Hang on a minute. As they look now to execute in towards this A bomb site, Team Spirit pull away to hold on to their rifles. The bomb's about to go running into them. Oh, my goodness. forZe could give this round away on the back of these 2 pushes being so isolated from one another. Luckily enough, they've regained control. Sumdai Young's left 1v4. There should be no way back into this for him. Maybe if he caught the bomb rotating away, he was in with a chance. But with Jerry being posted up in ladder room, there should be no chance.
Yeah, forZe nearly got baited by their own bait, ironically enough. As you said, the CT went to go and save on A, and suddenly, hold on a second, there's 2 or 3 players with the bomb on Tetris. All right, then. Maybe we can actually steal this round. Sumdai Young, last player left, has been spotted and will get fragged. And it was a bit unfortunate from his perspective. For one of the first times, he goes short with the AWP, and they have perfect short smokes for the Ts. So they just barrel straight out, 0 counteraction from the CTs. I think they had a player on Kitchen that got instantly destroyed. So that's kind of unfortunate. It's one of those rounds where Team Spirit go, we lost, but these things happen. Just unfortunate timing.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like that is as unfortunate as it gets. It was almost even more unfortunate for forZe, though, in a sense, right? Yeah. So they dodge a bullet there. I'll tell you who's not dodging any bullets. Jerry, he's going to fall at the top of mid. Dima to open things up. Man advantage gained early for Team Spirit. Dima and Sumdai Young having this advanced position going to cause so many problems for forZe. They can hear the rotations. They can cut off any play in through mid. Now Molotov isn't going to push Dima out of cover either. They would have loved to have found the trade.
Yeah, because if he goes either side of the box, he's dead. There's 2 players staring at him, so very fortunate it didn't spread to him. Sumdai Young also has the cross. This is a kill box if ever you've seen one. And although the terrorists come back with 2 kills, it's at great cost. Both of them are low. And Spirit have the player advantage.
Yeah, FaceCrack wary that someone might have gone aggressive in through T-spawn. Team Spirit have shown they're more than willing to go for these aggressive peaks in this round. Not the case, though, as he heads over here towards this B-bomb site. But a player you and I both commended, Sumdai Young, stands between him and getting this bomb down. Malik still playing around down in mid. Looking to try and rejoin up with FaceCrack at some point in time. Looks like he's going to wait to try and dampen these rotations, but you're putting a lot of faith in one man. Outdueling the 2 players that currently sit inside of B. He looked like he was going to back away then, but there's no time. You have to commit at this point, and he's waiting for Malik. He's trying to wait for him to get in a position, but as the bomb drops, 15 seconds left. Malik about to fall to Dav cost, and that's the round. Team Spirit going to move on to a 15th. They get hunted down by the Bloodhound gang there, and ultimately it's them to get the bad touch.
Nice. I do love Bloodhound gang.
They're great, aren't they?
I guess another angle to highlight about the Sumdai Young top fragging is the propensity for forZe to go for B hits. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Harry. I don't remember them going for an all-out execute more than maybe once.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really been too execute heavy thus far on either one of the bomb sites, as far as I recall, right? It does feel like they like to play these rather drawn-out defaults and then look to try and commit to something a little bit later on. And that's fine if you're winning all your duels early, but I mean, I would just love to see them throw an execute into really either one of the bomb sites at this point in time. But, yeah, I mean, the most advanced thing we saw them really try and do was just sort of, you know, the closest thing to like a set piece was when they tried barreling out of Palace, and that was, you know, the wrong decision called at the wrong time. But maybe we're finally going to get to see one of these set pieces now. 4 players waiting outside of A ramp, but they don't have enough smokes to really go for too much. You have 3, that's enough. Actually, yeah, 1 up the stairs, 1 for the cross. That doesn't matter. They're going to go dry, and this is why that's a bad idea when you have all these smokes. FaceCrack answers back with 1. Man advantage in favor of Team Spirit still.
Well, because typically what you want to do in a set play is have a Molotov like triple box and a Molotov behind the jungle and the stairs smoke, so it stops players from pushing out there and going for peaks. So forZe don't have any of those Molotovs, so it's just too easy for Spirit to repel the push. And now Malik, post-plant, 1-on-4, is going to spot at least one player on a CT, knows another one stairs, but it's really about those additional 2 players that aren't even required, and Spirit are going to do it. 16-11, it was laboured. At one point it looked like forZe were going to win that, but the play you mentioned, the all-out Palace push, that was the fulcrum point. That's where things started to tip back in Spirit's favour.
Yeah, fantastic recovery from them, and they actually make this look pretty concise towards the very end. forZe, their T side, just was not up to the challenge of toppling the Team Spirit roster. And that'll be them now joining Hellraisers and Prosto to continue the rest of this process. For forZe, they're not ready, they're not through this one just yet. They're going to have to keep fending for themselves. We have some best of 3s coming up later to decide who will be joining the 3 teams that are currently through to the next stage. But yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of promising things there from either one of these teams, I'll be honest. It seemed like forZe kind of ran out of pages in that strat book, though, towards the end.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. You know, especially as soon as they got hit with that gut punch of the Palace push, I think they actually went back into their shells quite a bit. They were a lot more indecisive. They had a lot of plays that didn't really seem to mesh together. So I think, for me, that was the main determining factor. But as you say, looking at both those teams, Spirit still looked the best to me, especially after that first performance. And we'll just have to see if they can go toe-to-toe now and go straight through against the Vanguard.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy challenge for them, that is for sure. We got those best of 3s coming up later on today, but to throw this over to some guys to speak about the best of 1 that we just saw unfurl before our very eyes, it's Parler, James, and Pimp on the desk.
Thank you very much, Harry, for that, and congratulations to the Ghosts, the Spirits, who have once again entered the bodies of their opponents and exploded them all over the room.
Okay then, I like what I've seen from forZe. I think that they were unfortunate not to get more rounds on their CT side. We saw really good AWPing from XE-Power. We saw great pushes through mid, and there was one where he actually was the point man making a push through the underpass with the AWP. Got a lovely flick on the player towards the top of the stairs, and again they really took it. They took the fight to Team Spirit in that first half. They only came away, I think, with 5 rounds, which is
disappointing for the CT.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And look how close it was towards the end there. We saw some nice rounds from forZe on the T side, but I think they look like one of the stronger teams in this side of the bracket. And despite losing to Team Spirit here, I think they have a chance of going through later on.
Gotta love to see FaceCrack putting up 101 ADR. Our boy FaceCrack, he did a very good job, and I want to agree with your point. I think both teams were trying to play proactive. Both teams were trying to set the pace, but in the end, it was Spirit who had the more determining plays and the more determining players as well in order to set that pace and set that momentum in for them.
Yeah.
Coldie had a really nice 2K on the A side, which was really important, pushing down the Palace through a smoke and just taking out 2 players in quick succession, and those kind of plays really broke the spirit of forZe, no pun intended, towards the middle of that second half. But I mean, Sum Da-young put out massive numbers, almost 3,000 damage in that game, which is something you kind of more see online. That's you see someone's had a really colossal effort when they get to that kind of 3,000 damage mark, and he was just shy of that. He did really good for his team. And you said that you think they've become a much stronger team since they've added him to the roster. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, he's a great player. I have the honor to play with him in your own FPL circuit, and he's a guy who's holding up for himself pretty much all the time, and also speaks very fluent English. So definitely a guy for the future as well. Not only within the CIS region, but if this may be his first step, into the pro scene, he could move on to maybe international team or even a better CIS team.
What we can already say is that it's been a good start for Team Spirit, but if we look specifically at the players' performances, it was Dima that really shone in that first best of 1, and now we've just seen Sum Da-young and Davkos performing as well. And so it seems like multiple gears in this team's machine are gelling together very well.
They look good. They look good, and I look forward to seeing what they can do in the latter stages of this CIS minor.
The most important thing to take away from this as well is that they now get to not meet Hellraisers in the first game in the championship bracket. So that's a big win for Spirit, because that gives them a decent chance for actually going in all the way and qualify for the major.
Exactly, and talking about the bracket, let's get it up now on screen so everybody at home can be reminded of exactly where we are. Spirit are through to the next stage of this minor, not quite qualified for the major yet. They had to beat both Monolith and forZe, as we just saw. forZe earlier beat a Vanguard, and a Vanguard and Monolith will play next in a best of 3, and then we'll close out the day with forZe playing the winner of that matchup. So yeah, 2 best of 3s still to come. James, am I going to be joined by you on desk, or are you going to be casting those matches?
I'm here for the next one.
Okay, just the next one.
Yeah.
And Pimp, what about yourself? I hear you're jetting off for a little excursion, vacation.
I'm going off to a vacation. I'll be eating a lot of those and, you know, be doing a lot of these and have a good time in Marbella, Spain.
Yeah, well, Pimp, as always, love working with you. Very talented, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next in terms of desk and your own personal stuff. Anything else that
He'll
you'd
be
like?
here for the next match.
He will be here for the next match?
Yeah.
Well, apparently.
Oh, well, he will be here for the next match. Pimp thought he was getting an early finish, but no, he will be with us for the next one. So let's save the nice emotional goodbye, the hugs and the kisses until then. Watermelon, over to you in the studio. That will be it from us for now, unless James wants to say anything else.
No.
He is the boss. No, he just wants to grab the ceremonial watermelon and show it some love. All right, everybody, up next, it's going to be a Vanguard squaring off against forZe in a best of 3. Earlier today, forZe did beat them, but that was just a best of 1. Everything is still up for grabs. Do not go anywhere, and we will see you back here for the rest of the CIS Minors very shortly.